You're up at 2 a.m. holding your baby, and you have no idea if what you're doing right now is helping or hurting. Nobody warned you that this first year of your baby's life is the most critical window for wiring their brain, not just for infancy, but for their relationships, their resilience, and their emotional health decades from now. If you're a new parent in the middle of this beautiful, exhausting chaos of the first year, or if you're expecting and want to build this right from the very beginning, this video is for you. Because every week that passes without this foundation is a week your baby's developing brain is wiring itself based on what it's experiencing right now. And most new parents are focused on entirely the wrong things. I work with hundreds of families as a clinical psychologist, and I see this pattern clearly. Today, I'm sharing the 3 most critical things that research says every new parent should focus on in the first 12 months. Not the sleep schedule apps, not the perfect stroller, the 3 things that actually wire your baby's brain for a secure, confident, connected life. By the end of this video, I'm going to share something about your own nervous system that most parenting books never mention, and it might be the most important thing that you hear all year. Critical thing number 1 is what I call predictable rhythm. Most new parents think the goal is to get their baby on a schedule, specific times, specific naps, a precise routine that runs like clockwork. And when that doesn't happen, they feel like they're failing. Here's what the research actually shows. It's not a rigid schedule that matters. It's rhythm, the predictable sequence of events that tells your baby's nervous system, this is what is happening next. You're safe. Now, think about it from your baby's perspective. They just arrived in a world full of sensory input they've never experienced. So every light, sound, sensation is brand new. Their entire nervous system is scanning constantly for one question: is this safe? When the same sequence of events happens reliably, bath, then feed, then dim lights, then rocking, then sleep, their brain learns to predict. And predictability is the neurological foundation of safety. In my practice, I see this pattern over and over. The families who struggle most in the first years aren't the ones who have the hardest babies. They're the ones whose environment is most chaotic and unpredictable. Not because they're bad parents, but because nobody told them that rhythm is a regulation tool. You don't need a perfect schedule. You need a recognizable sequence. Bath, feed, cuddle, sleep, in that order, most nights. That's enough. The sequence is telling your baby's brain the world makes sense and you are held. And here's what matters most that parents don't realize. Once you have that rhythm working, reading your baby becomes dramatically easier, which is exactly what critical thing 2 is about. So critical thing number 2 is learning to read your baby's cues and understanding that this is not just a communication skill, it's a direct pathway to secure attachment. The research on attachment, pioneered by John Bowlby and expanded by Mary Ainsworth, is clear. Secure attachment develops through consistent, responsive caregiving. When your baby signals a need and you respond, not perfectly, not every single time, but consistently, their brain learns something profound. My communication works. When I need something, someone comes. That's not just comfort. That's the foundation of every trusting relationship that they will ever have. Now, I want to say something important here because I see this cause so much unnecessary anxiety in new parents. You do not need to decode every cry perfectly. You are not failing because you couldn't figure out whether that 11 p.m. cry was hunger or overstimulation. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is pattern recognition over time. And here's what I want you to start paying attention to: your specific child's kryptonite. Every baby has 1 or 2 things that derail them faster than anything else. For some, it's hunger. The moment their blood sugar dips, everything falls apart. For others, it's fatigue. Miss the sleep window by 20 minutes and you've got a completely different baby. For others, it's overstimulation. Too many people, too much noise, and their nervous system just shuts down. The parent who figures this out early, who starts keeping a snack in their bag before their baby even becomes a toddler because they know that hunger is their child's trigger, that parent is already 10 steps ahead. Not because they're perfect, because they're paying attention, and each time you respond to your baby's cues, even approximately, even imperfectly, you are making a deposit into a secure attachment account. That account is what they will draw from every time life gets hard in the future. Now, we've talked about rhythm and responsiveness. Before I get to the most critical thing 3, which is the one most parenting books skip entirely, I want to share something that connects directly to everything that you've just heard. In my free workshop, one of the frameworks that I walk parents through is the 5 C's. And the very first C, communication, it builds entirely on this idea of reading your child and responding in a way that actually reaches them. Because you'll have a two-way dialogue with your little one in the blink of an eye. So if you want to explore that framework, I'll link to it below, and you can find it at drlindsayemmerson.com/workshop. It's free, it's on demand, and it goes far deeper than what we can cover in today. Critical thing number 3 is the one I promised at the beginning, and it's the one most parenting books leave out entirely: your nervous system. Now, here's the neuroscience. Your baby cannot regulate their own nervous system. Their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-regulation, won't be meaningful developed for years to come. What they do instead is borrow regulation from you. This is called co-regulation, and it's a biological reality, not just a parenting philosophy. What that means in practical terms is this: when you are dysregulated, stressed, exhausted, overwhelmed, spiraling, your baby's nervous system picks that up directly, not because they're sensitive or difficult, because they are literally wired to read your physiological state and mirror it. So I work with new parents who are doing everything right on the surface: the right feeds, the right naps, the right routine, but they're running on empty and their baby can't settle. The baby isn't broken. The baby is accurately reading their parent's nervous system and responding to it. So this isn't about being perfectly calm. That's not realistic, and it's not the standard. It's about having enough regulation capacity that when your baby is dysregulated, you can be the anchor rather than the wave causing them to crash. The parent who pauses, takes one visible breath before picking up the baby at 2 a.m., not because they read a parenting book that said so, but because they understand that their calm is the most powerful tool in the room, that parent is doing something neurologically profound. Your baby doesn't need a perfect parent, they need a regulated one. Now, before we get to the payoff, I want to say this directly. If you've been in survival mode since your baby arrived, if most of your bandwidth has gone towards keeping everyone fed and alive, you're not behind. The fact that you're here watching this tells me everything I need to know about the kind of parent you are. You can start building any of this today. Right now is not too late. Now, here's what you're building towards. In the first few months of consistently applying these 3 things, parents tell me that their baby settles more predictably. Not because the baby changed, but because the environment became something their nervous system could count on. By the end of the first year, if you have been intentional about rhythm, responsiveness, and your own regulation, you will have a child whose first question when something is hard is, "Where's my person?" And you will be the answer. Picture this: your child is 7 years old. It's going to be here in the blink of an eye, though it seems far away right now. It's a Tuesday morning and something happened at school. A friendship fell apart. A teacher was harsh. The day just went sideways. And instead of holding it until bedtime, instead of acting out to get your attention, they walk through the door, they find you in the kitchen, and they just start talking. Not because you forced it, because they learned in that first year of life that when they signal a need, someone responds, that their voice matters, that you are safe. That's secure attachment. That's what you're building right now in the middle of this exhausting, beautiful chaos of that first 12 months. Rhythm, responsiveness, and a regulated parent who shows up consistently. That's it. That's everything right now. Now, if today gave you something useful, a little more focus, a little less pressure, I'd love to go deeper with you. My free workshop walks through the complete 5 C's parenting framework, the system that takes everything we've talked about today and shows you how to apply it across every stage of your child's development. Register for free at drlindsayemmerson.com/workshop, and I'll link to it below. And comment grounded below if this gave you a sense of calm in the midst of the chaos of early parenting. I read every single comment. And the next video in this series, 3 critical things every parent of a toddler should know, is linked right here, because the secure attachment that you build in that first year, the toddler years are where you find out if it's working. And there's a specific thing that's happening between ages 1 and 4 that either reinforces that foundation or starts to erode it. Keep up the good work on your parenting journey.